the lead position of a man in the family is not supposed to be taken away at all, isn't it?
Maybe it's making the most out of that situation. It could be that, okay, now you can start writing a book about what you have learned in that particular situation.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Liz&Peps Inspiration. We are happy to be back. Feels like it's been a long time, right?
Adulting was working on us.
Adulting was working on us.
Growing up is a scam.
Yeah, so our topic today, she just asked me a question. Can dads or husbands be stay-at-home? Yeah. Or can men be stay-at-home dads or husbands?
Yeah, I've seen it online in lots of social media platforms as well, where many people and men, to be precise, are now opting to be stay-at-home dads. I wonder whether that's something that you could actually do, and what your thoughts are about being a stay-at-home dad or a stay-at-home husband in general. Yeah.
You see, lots of controversies, I would say. I would also think we're having a lot of changes as generations go by.
Yeah.
And lots of things are changing. We are tending to embrace some of the things that were not there in the past and all that. And we somehow seek to justify that in a way. Yeah, so this is a fact. We are having those who think it is okay for men to be stay-at-home dads and all that. We are having those who are against that theory. And we are all products of the society we grew up in, isn't it? And the things that we learned and all that. And even for those who are thinking it is okay for them to do that, they are finding ways to justify that. Yeah.
Would you be a stay-at-home dad?
As direct as it comes to me now. I thought we were talking about other people.
That's inclusive of you.
Inclusive of me as well.
You form the incidence and the prevalence rates. So
okay, I think that and just to be safe, I would say now this is my opinion and what I personally think. I know people may think differently, but now this is my opinion because on a general scale, knowing how having grown up and learned about family, marriage, and the role of men and husbands in the family, I personally would not want to be in that position.
Okay.
I wouldn't want to be in that position because I have grown up knowing that men are supposed to, and I think this is a fact, biblically, of course, as well, as the heads of the home, they are supposed to take the lead in providing for the family, in working and providing for the family, just ensuring that everything is okay and all that. So I would say I wouldn't want to be in such a position.
Yeah. I also feel like it's such a tricky conversation, to be honest. But then I also think of it in terms of the fact that nowadays people do lots of stuff online. And so what would you be doing in case you are a stay-at-home dad? Would you just be staying, playing PlayStation from 9 to 5 when when your wife is at work? Then they come back. There's lots of dishes in the sink, still waiting for the meals to be cooked, really, and every other thing to be done by her. So it's about, what will you be doing? Is it that you'll be working online? Because then there's normally online working, isn't it?
Yeah, there is.
So is it that you're working online, or are you sort of rebranding yourself and doing something behind the scenes as much as you're in the house, and not sort of draining your brain?
Okay, so I think here we now need to define what exactly they are doing in that environment, isn't it? Because as I began by saying, the lead position of a man in the family is not supposed to be taken away at all, isn't it? So when we come even to the context of men being stay-at-home dads and all that, we're not talking about them neglecting their position as leaders in the family, isn't it? So as I always say again, we have expectations and then we have reality as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
We have what we expect of men and blah blah. We actually visualize that. When growing up, we plan and say, this is what I want to be. In this year, I want to work hard, achieve this amount of money, get a job, get promoted, and all that. And then the reality of it is, as I said, we can't tell the future, so things happen, and there could be something that would happen maybe to make this person be at home, isn't it?
Yeah.
So from there, we have to look at what they can do to ensure that they are keeping up with their role as a husband and as the head of the family. That's why you talked about things such as working from home and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it is really okay. So what I advocate for is for the man to remain the head and take lead in providing and taking care of the family, irrespective of whether they are going out to work or they are in a situation where they have to stay at home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think you've talked about that, and then something has come into my mind, and that is, do we really normally understand what provision is? Because I think you've actually mentioned that a couple of times. Is it taking lead and sort of being the visionary person of the home? And that definitely involves finances, isn't it? Because there are needs to be met in the family. And so what exactly would that then look like if someone is a stay-at-home dad or a stay-at-home husband? Would the wife really still be committed and trust the leading of this man? Or is that leading, sort of following of the vision of this man, always tied to the money?
I would say, I think that brings into the picture one of the other very hot topics around marriage on matters money, isn't it, and all that. And again, I would say traditionally, let me use this subjectively in a way that we would all be able to understand. We had days when men would be the ones working and women would basically be at home, not working. And in that case, the man would be maybe the breadwinner, the sole breadwinner of the family. In the current generation, we are having a change in times where we are having ladies excelling in their professions as well, and they are
taking
working,
the markets by storm.
taking the markets by storm and earning big and all that. And I think that has tended to also revolutionize the idea of money in the family and all that. That's why we hear. I think one of the things that one of the topics people go through when in premarital counseling is about money and the perceptions around money and all that, and how they should handle it. And in an overall sense, what I've seen being said is the fact that when people get married, they become one thing, isn't it?
Yeah, they do.
And they are there to support one another and to do things together and grow together.
Yeah.
So that also will bring into the picture the money they earn as well.
Yeah.
So it comes to a point where they have to agree on how to make things work.
Yeah.
For instance, we're dreaming of a good life, isn't it?
Yeah.
So we are looking at how to support one another to live that good life that we are desiring, to support the kids, to do projects and developments, to do investments and all that as one husband and wife as one, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I would say when I talk about the man taking the lead in that case is maybe in the current generation it wouldn't necessarily be. This is subjective, of course. I would hear your opinion on it, of course, and many other our views as well. It wouldn't just be about he's the one to bear the entire financial burden, but he can use some help reasonably and on mutual agreement, because I said husband and wife, these are now one, and they can talk, they can agree on how to go about issues, and there's the money as well. But the man should basically be taking lead in terms of being on the forefront in planning, bringing up progressive ideas and plans, sharing them with the wife. Of course, the wife does bring something to the table as well, because they are not robots, just to in a way that you are. They also have a mind and they have ideas and they can make you better in a way, isn't it? Yeah.
In many ways, yeah.
In many ways, yeah.
Yeah. But to be honest, when we were even thinking about this topic, I think one of the things that I actually felt like this would not just apply to stay-at-home dads, but also stay-at-home moms. And I think it is very important to actually, because you've mentioned a couple of times as well that we are actually partners in this, isn't it?
Yes.
And I think it's also about encouraging your partner to get out of their comfort zone. I quote it because at times it is not something that someone is willing to be to do, or to be in sort of that space. Okay.
Yeah.
And so, for instance, it could be that yes, you for instance have had your own maternity leave or something, or you have taken break from work because you're trying to rebrand, or it's probably the end of your contract or your job, or your job hunting again, whatnot. Like basically any life situation that could arise. I think it's up to the other partner to actually encourage this other one who is staying at home to do better. And normally I feel like it is the simple things that could stem out of it. So just to give an instance, if for instance it's a mom who's staying at home and taking care of the child, doing the cooking, doing the cleaning up, whatever, the changing, you are definitely not called to be in that space all your life. That's the truth of all things. That's why Christ has given us a brain as well, you're thinking, isn't it? And so maybe it's making the most out of that situation. It could be that, okay, now you can start writing a book about what you have learned in that particular situation, and not just being comfortable and just saying, okay, I'll sit, we'll wait for the next opening. I think it's because I love to take I'm very positive in life, and I love to take advantage of every kind of situation. Yeah, because we have seen very good authors as well, isn't it?
They are.
Who just started. They were in the houses. They were probably doing their motherly stuff or their fatherly stuff, doing their daddy duties. Ideas came up. They put that down in form of a book or a script, and they became very good authors. And at times it's sort of looking at it in terms of maybe Christ is putting you in that space so that you could rebrand and become better. Yeah. So you see that person for KFC, what was his name again? And he started KFC at 65 years, if I'm not wrong. And KFC is now everywhere, isn't it?
In the world, I hear the story goes that way.
Yeah, I also hear it. I hear it goes that way as well. And so at times it's probably looking at the positive outcome, or the positive thing that can come out of this particular situation. But that is just my thought.
I do agree with it, because as I said, we can hope, we can plan and all that, but then the reality of life faces us, and things can happen and put you far from even the dreams that you dreamt of, from a job that was paying you so well and all that. But the most important thing is life has to move on. By the way, no matter what, life has to move on. When you talk about an institution called marriage, for instance, there is what God designed it to be. This is an institution that brings two people together who are now living a purpose together, and they have to make it. And by the way, as much as the society does matter, the most important people in building that marriage and the family and making history are the two people living together, that is husband and wife. There are so many things that we can debate about that people on the outside might not be able to help, but they only see the result. Okay, I will take an example. When a house is excelling, for instance, and kids are going to school, what people out there are seeing is a family that is doing well, raising their kids. If they have a good car, they are seeing a family that is maybe doing well financially. They've been able to save up and bought a car and all those sorts of things. And that applies to the negative as well. When people see kids from a certain family out there maybe working with torn clothes and all that, they would just picture maybe parents who are not responsible and everything, isn't it? they may never know the specific details. If they see your kid out there with very nice shoes, they wouldn't even be able to know who exactly bought. Is it the husband? Is it the wife who did that and all that? So that's why I said it is important, because the marriage is about these two people. They make a choice to live this life together, to build it together in privacy and in secret. If there are any issues, they sit together, get to talk and solve them, and then when they go out there, you shine outside, isn't it?
Yeah.
You go shine out there.
Because, for instance, you're staying at home.
Yeah.
And you're always with kids. You're trying to raise your kids, which is very good and beautiful.
Yeah.
And then what happens when these kids grow up and are independent? They hit 18 and they leave the house, or they get to that year where they're not really too much dependent on you, or they go to school early in the morning and come back in the evening. What are you doing throughout the day? Are you just seated waiting for the kids to come back? Or does your life come to a standstill? Now your kids are probably 16 years or 18 or whatever and have left the house. Does your life come to a standstill? And then again, when you're raising these kids, because you're with them throughout the whole time, all those years, you're not doing anything. Are you not having any sort of mind-triggering conversations with people as well? Are you growing? Are you not growing yourself, or are you growing yourself in any way? Your brain, because kids already have very limited vocabulary, to be honest.
Yeah.
So I wonder what that looks like when you choose to just stay at home, not do anything, and then you now leave that confinement. You are no longer confined after some time. I wonder what that would look like. Okay, I'm probably overthinking.
Yeah, because talking about choosing, I think that is an extreme that I would not want even to see in a society where, you when you say a man chooses to stay at home and not do anything.
Yeah.
Oh my, isn't it? Because even if talk about raising kids, actually 18 is so far stretched. Kids in the current society, kids get to a certain age and they are out of the house. They are big enough, and so they will spend most of their times, actually, unless the long holidays and they are away from school, or otherwise, in a typical year, the kids are not at home most of the time.
Yeah,
they are not at home most of the time. When they get to an age where they are going to maybe a boarding school or even in college, they would even probably be away from home long before they hit 18 and all that. And the other thing I would want to say is I don't think there's any man who would really be comfortable not having money. That is the other thing. I'm bringing money in the picture because in the event you're talking in the present society, actually, the only way you can lay your hands on money is by doing something. So when you talk about sitting at home and doing nothing, this is also just to say there is no source of income, or they're not generating income of their own in any way. That is a very powerless position to occupy. Okay. And when it talks about taking the lead, it should be in terms of everything. When what are you teaching your children? For instance, somebody ever said most children grow learning from where they are growing up, isn't it? So they would tend to grow up, and the better part of their lives would be a product of what they grew up seeing from their parents, be it from their parents, elder siblings, or the people they were living within the house, isn't it? So any male child who becomes a husband in future, the idea of a husband is built around what their dad is doing in the family and all that. The same way, any girl growing up, the idea of who a wife should be is built from what their mother is doing and how she is,
and how a woman and how a wife should be treated,
and how everything. By the way, everything. In fact, when I talk about the girl, she's not just learning from the mother alone. She's learning from the mother what a wife should do in the family, and she's learning from the dad how a man should be treating a wife, and so she would have these expectations upon the man she marries, because she saw the dad doing this. So she would expect this kind of treatment as well, because she knows this is how dad treated mom, and I know this is how a husband should treat a wife, isn't it? Yeah. So that means whatever you do, if a man you decide just to do nothing, that is not a good image to your children as well, because they are not learning what they should actually. So
because how will you teach your children how to be men, your sons how to be men, and how to make that money if you are staying at home the whole time and not doing anything, or and not doing anything.
Yeah, and I think, to be fair enough, in the current society, I know places may vary, depends on where you are in the world, but for the few places we've grown up in, I think the trends can be more or less the same. In the current world we are living in, there's no position where you can say there's completely nothing to do whatsoever. Yeah, at least at any particular point in time, you will always find something to do, even if it is not what you want to do. But it's all about necessity and facing the reality of life again, because the fact remains that you need money. There would be no point in time where you just say, actually there is absolutely nothing to do at all.
Yeah. And in the beginning, God creates Adam, puts him in the garden, and is expected to work as the first assignment. He's not even given away first, he's given the work to do. I wonder what you think about being a stay-at-home dad, and whether you would be a stay-at-home dad or a stay-at-home mom. Please let us know.
Let us know. And I know you're thinking of, by the way, we are not ignoring the realities of life. As we said, there could be several situations that you would cite to. Yeah, I know situations vary. You can bring up all those sorts of examples and scenarios that you think would make somebody. We've seen people. I had a friend, for instance, who became very ill, and for a long time they had just to stay at home. They can't work because of a condition they were in. Good enough, at the end of the day, they got well and now are able to work and all that. I know you could be thinking about such scenarios and many others that we have not cited in all that.
Or someone might actually say that I can be a stay-at-home dad, and on the bit of example where I need to be leading my sons or my kids in terms of being an example, then Christ could actually show me a revelation. That because possible, isn't it? Because even, for instance, talking to other people, you could be that you normally counsel people in a particular area or and you have not necessarily been in those shoes, but Christ has shown you or given you a revelation about how to go about and handle that situation. I don't know what people think about that. Is that applicable in this case, or it is about Christ giving you the revelation, yes, but you also getting out of your comfort zone and maybe going to find someone who is going to mentor your child, because that is now different. You have actually worked and gone out to actually do something to get something for your child. I don't know if it makes sense.
It makes just basically talking about doing whatever it takes to make things work for better, because you need a solution to a situation, no matter what position you are in. So at the end of the day, you want to ensure that what needs to be done has been done by whatever legal means and acceptable means possible.
Okay. It's a wrap. Isn't it?
It's a wrap, but I think it's a very wide topic, wider than we can even expound it at this point. But it's touching heavily on marriage, so we would like to hear the comments and the views around these issues, be it to young people who are looking forward to get married, what they think right now, even those who are in marriage, how if you have encountered such situations, what your thoughts are on these matters, and if you have even had people who were in a situation and this was actually the problem, you can tell us what you think and how you help them.
And actually, if you are also a stay-at-home dad or a stay-at-home mom, please tell us how you have navigated this and what your thoughts are on the same.
Exactly. And how your spouse or your partner took it, because it's an issue that would always be contentious, and it will need a lot of talking and agreeing. By the time you get to that point, you need to have talked to your partner. Just let us know what they thought about that and whether they accepted that situation, and all that.
So it's been an interesting conversation from this end, and kindly remember to like, share, comment, and most importantly, kindly subscribe to our YouTube to our YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And that's going to be very helpful and loving.
Of course.
Yes.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah. So until next time, see you and take care.
Bye.
Bye.